Discover new music at listener-powered KEXP.org.
You may nege buka wakera be buka buka tua harusia. You may nege buka wakera be buka buka tua harusia. Ani aku waya be paya paya. Ani aku waya be paya paya. Gawa kuat kuat guru meikin kuat kuat ini awalnya gawa kuat kuat guru meikin kuat kuat ini awalnya ani aku liumo Worry about negative, why you know about? Worry about negative, why you know about? I'm proud about negative. Negatia, why you don't make it lento? I give it why you know. Sorry, but negatia, why you make it lento? I give it why you know. It's the why I be baby. Why I be baby. Even though we're here. We're alive.
Supuri on the island of Bayhill. There we sat down and there we went because of suffering. Abacha Niwa Ingesiwa Gubaliso Luagucha Guada Duniwa Liga Lubagewa Donguniwa Garawa Lida Sula Suliwa. The bridges of our ancestors and this them on body so attempted to commit genocide. How can we play our drums on this barren and deserted land? Mabuleta la miseru supusiwara lila supula. Let's not forget our experience. Let it be known. Land Bayhill. Labuga Supuri Bayhill. There I sat down and there we went because of suffering. Abacha Luniwa Ingesiwa Gubaliso Luagucha Guada Duniwa Lida Lubagewa Donguniwa Garawa Lida Sula Suliwa. The bridges broke our ancestors and dispersed them on Bayhill, attempted to commit genocide. How can we play our drums on this barren and deserted land? Diruwe Mahomisanigo, Luagu Asunurayunago, Sukarinago, Yurume. Teach the children the history about the great ancestors in the homeland of the Garifuna, Yurume. La miseria supusiwana lina supula sua. Let's not forget our experience. Let it be known our land.
Bayhill News Network is an internet radio. We are affiliate with Fun City Radio USA, CANCARDIRADIO Radio and Success Radio Canada and Blaze Nation Media Group. You can find Bayhill News Network at www.bayhillnews.net.
Join your host, Ross Bishai, for Stepping into the Light at Bayhill Online Radio and Concordia Radio. Ross Bishai steps into the light of food and agriculture, culture and liberty. Stepping into the light lifts the level of your self-consciousness, activates your collective security genetic code, raises your earthly vibration. To win in this Armageddon, you must listen to Stepping into the Light with host Ras Bishai.
Traveling to St. Vincent, need to get around Crystal Connection car rental, telephone 1784-529-9120 or email crystaldaniel91@gmail.com. Book your economy rental car today.
It's the Vin Abbott Show with news, views, and interviews. The music in the mix on Saturdays, 4 p.m. Cancari Radio. You can now order your roti skins from Des Tasty Treats and Roti Skins at telephone 1784-528-2979 or pick up Des Tasty Treats and Roti Skins at Randy's Supermarket. More products are coming soon from Des Tasty Treats and Roti Skins.
I'm not title up and tire this. Men and people will fight you down. If you're not wrong, then you're gonna walk alright through the roads of creation. Generation.
Yes, greetings and welcome to the 7th program for 2025, Stepping into the Light. The host, Ras Bishai at Bayhill Radio and Cancardi Radio, Tuesday, 24th March 2026. Yes, playing in the background is our theme song, Exodus by Bob Marley. Oh yes, it's in my effort to all listening and following this program worldwide. It's good to be here with you again for another program. Yes, good to be here with you again. All the different happenings, all levels, personal, regional, local, international. Good to be here. Okay? So you know what to do. Link up a friend, a family member, loved one, etc., and invite them to listen to tonight's program. It's really a very exciting one. Yeah, as you listen to our theme song. Yes. We did not air program for the last 2 weeks because we had other very important matters to deal with, and some of that you're going to hear in tonight's program. You know, the fact that we are here and we are stepping into the light tells you, you know, that we are right on the ball, right in time. Yes, so all over the world, people are making the exodus out of the darkness, leaving Babylon, as Bob said. Yes. So we'll do the rest of the theme song and then we get straight into the idols. Glory to the word, and glory to the song, and glory to the power of the Most High, Jah Rastafari. Almighty creators of this universe, and I give thanks for your love, for your care, and for your guidance throughout the time, and for bringing I here for another program. Keep shining thy light into I path, as I go stepping into the light and unto Mount Zion. This, healing up the ancestors. Blissful be the irates of his Imperial Majesty Emperor Haile Selassie and Her Imperial Majesty Empress Menen. One perfect balance. Blissful be the irates of I ancestors, the Neteru, which walk alongside I always, keeping I feet from slipping and falling, I hands from pilfering and stealing, and I mouths from slander and idle speaking. I calling the goddess Mat, and the 42 divine ones from creation to keep all of I people firmly on the 7 basic principles of truth, order, balance, harmony, law, morality, and justice. If I life over death, light over darkness, mind over matter, and good over evil every time. Ashe. Yes, I people, yes, I loving people. What a wonderful time it is. What a beautiful time. As the theme song says, we're stepping out of Babylon, we're leaving Babylon. Yes, in every sense of the word. You can see it, you can feel it, you can touch it. And those who don't experience any of those things, well, you're stuck in Babylon. You ain't going to leave right now. But all who have the vibe, we live in Babylon. Yeah, we live in that system way gone. Can't come again. We want to acknowledge and thanks both the operators and owners of Bayhill Radio and those of CANCARDIRADIO Radio. We're doing a very excellent job so far. This is our 208 meeting program since we started. 208 programs since we started on the 4th of January 2021. And that will take some going. We also want to thank the sponsors of this program, and of course, big thanks to you, the listeners and followers to and of this program. You make it a reality. Yes. So what are the happenings? What are the happenings in this blessed revelationary time? Time when things are revealing that catching a lot of people flat-footed, and they're reacting emotionally. Not conscious that this is revelation time and this is the time when the Armageddon war is coming to a close and good will always triumph over evil. Never mind how evil the evil think it is. It's good. Yes, So I into a new beginning right now. A new beginning right now. Yes. And I looking at the visiting Garifuna contingent that came here to commemorate the month of national heroes. We're looking at the major issues and agreements reached, right? We're looking at the shortfalls and areas needing urgent strengthening. Okay, and we are making an overall assessment. That would take most of the first part of this program. Excuse me. As you know, March has been designated National Heroes Month for some time now, and it's commemorated every year. And it has a special since 2012, I think it was. Yes, 2012, 2013. It has a special ceremony that takes place on the 14th of March And since that, Garifuna brethren locally, brethren, ancestry locally, and those in the countries where Garifuna, the majority of Garifuna, live and work, they come here to commemorate that day. And along the commemoration is normally a visit to Baliso, because this is the sacred place where Garifuna ancestors were exiled, first exiled, left to die, survived more than 50% against all the odds in 1795. 2 years later, 1797, they were taken to Rotan Island in what is then was known as British Honduras. So this year, a very large contingent contextually came, larger than that came at any other time. And they had a full program. And things were organized by the Garifuna Heritage Foundation based in St. Vincent and the Grenadines. So among those things were people visiting for the first time, taking in some sites and so on, historic sites, but also participating in a 3-day seminar which was put on, and also doing some cultural presentations and general sightseeing. And this was very good because there were representations from the major countries that have the largest Garifuna populations: Honduras, United States, Belize, Nicaragua. Okay? These are the areas that have the most significant number of Garifuna people presently. And according to what has been said, among those countries, the estimated total number of Garifuna is somewhere close to 700,000 people. So you see what happened in that time. From 5,200 odd being exiled, left to die, didn't die, because them can't die, moved to another place, hope that they will die, didn't die, and now multiply and are over 700,000 strong out there. Talk about strength of resolve and people being prolific. That's it there for you. That's a living testimony right there. Okay? They also have a beautiful language of their own. They also have a deep sense and knowledge passed on by mouth of their parents, grandparents, and great-grandparents, that in all the countries that they are, these people tell the younger generation, look, this is not your land home, you know. Your home is Urumi, St. Vincent and the Grenadines. So they have that inborn and just born and now born knowledge that this rock here, these islands here, are their home. Their original home. So they love it. Can't take that from it, right? Still have a good portion of the culture. Although for all that time, they have been separated. Those that were moved have been separated and gone into countries where they first of all had to learn a different language in order to survive among the people. So they have to cling to their language plus the language of the country in which they were. And most of the areas down there speak Spanish, except for Belize, which speaks both Spanish and English, mostly English. Because at one time it was British Honduras, and then part of it became Honduras when the Spanish, when that settled, and that part became Belize. So these people have to speak at least 3 languages who live there, just in order to get along, survive. But their language has held the course of time strong. Okay? So they have that love, that's sovereign love for this land. Now, at this point, I want to say 2 things. One, there's still a lot of people out there, people who you think would know better or should know better, okay? Or even could know better than what they're saying about the Garifuna. I don't know where their source of information comes from, what is the genesis of the source or the base, but they're saying some very foolish and derogatory things. Not that the Garifuna people are taking them on, which is the right thing to do because they are living testament. You don't want more proof than what you see. What you see is there, it's real. And if people are objecting to what they're seeing and hearing as being real and choosing what they're not seeing but somebody is telling them about and they only believe in, then that person has some serious problems. Serious problems. Mental, psychological, and everything together. Those people. So here you are saying that the Garifuna is not a real thing. It's a fake and blah, 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 blah. Not even going into those things because can't take my time with negative comments. We have work in this country to do. Suffice it to say that pay no attention to those wide no balls. Yeah, that is what they will call it in cricket, a wide no ball. So that's 2 extras. And if it go for 4 byes, it's 4 wides, and it's still a no ball. You get 5 extras for that. So here what's happening now. They went on all these things, and most of them, well, those who I spoke to were satisfied. Those who came before and those who came for the first time. And they got very emotional when they went to Baliso. Because the experience they had on that day was something they were not prepared for. I did not go. When I heard of the detail, I said, okay, with the record number of people going and with the capacity of the boat going, I will give up my space to someone who is coming here because opportunities for I to go there at any time are more than that person, whoever it is. So they went, and I was at home, and the vibrations tell me that they're having a rough time. They're having a rough time, and they did have a rough time. They did have a rough time, so much so that some of them couldn't disembark from the boat that carried them into the smaller boat that was taking them ashore. So they didn't actually set foot on the island. And then those who set foot on the island spoke about the things there that, first of all, they saw things which they didn't expect to see. Bones, including human bones, scattered, several places. And they felt the vibrations of the spirits of the ancestors who died there in one form or the other. Pay the ultimate price so that they could be here today. So anyway, all is well that ends well. So, everyone came up, went there without having to go to any emergency facility or anything like that. And in general, at the end of everything, before leaving, they all expressed their willingness and their anxiety to come forward again to this country. Not just at that time, but at times when they could afford it. Some even are looking to invest and settle here at some time. That is the level of interest in which the majority of people have, right? They feel that attachment, that natural attachment to this island, this country. They also were successful in getting the present administration to agree and to announce that the Garifuna language, which has now been officially accepted at the United Nations level as a bona fide language, to be added to the curriculum in schools. I'm not quite certain if it's in every school, but in schools. Never happened before. And I think that's a big plus. Well, it's a big plus for the Garifuna people. It's also good. They who do it at home and do it abroad. That's a big plus, right? They are also interested in getting some level, some recognizable official level of citizenship to the proper channels of this, to be a citizen of this country. And I see absolutely nothing wrong with that, because not just of their birthright, of their lineage, but also because people could go here and be a citizen of several other countries. At the moment, the people who have it easiest among the Garifuna are the Belizeans, because the last administration was involved in signing an agreement with three other countries, Barbados, Dominica, and Belize, for the free movement of people, and people could come here from those countries and work and stay up to 6 months without any special documentation. So they at least have a start on the others. Right? Some of the things that I notice among the Garifunas visiting and so on, and it's similar to what is happening here, which need urgent attention, is at the organizational level of the groupings, and the management level and the leadership level of the groupings. And I could see why these are so, because in all the Garifuna countries, and it might sound funny, but it will be less felt in the United States than the others, because of the greater diversity of the society up there, and the more, never mind what you hear them say, the wider chance of you getting justice and organizational support in certain areas. Yes. So at the management level, the management structure, the people who form what they call the executive of these organizations, they need special training. And one characteristic that I see among them and among our people here, all our people here, Garifuna based and non-Garifuna based, is our weakness when it comes to communication. Terribly, terribly weak. And that is why we are not competitive locally, regionally, or internationally in the moment in most things. If we don't build up that level of communication expertise, we will not be competitive, and we will not be sustainable what we do, and we'll always be very dependent in almost everything we need. So this communication and communication methodology and techniques must be added to our educational agenda as of now, at all levels, as a compulsory subject. The art of communicating, the requirements of communicating, I don't mean just taking up a phone or right. No, 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 no. The whole ethics of it, the intricacies of it, the need for it, the value of it, all these things have to be taught. So if we don't know how to do that, then I tell you, in this new era here, you're wasting time. You wouldn't be stepping into the light. You wouldn't have that rhythm. You wouldn't have that harmony. You know, you wouldn't have that law that's supposed to guide you. You wouldn't have that balance because you have no order. You wouldn't have the order either. And so you wouldn't get your justice. So we have to do it from there. We have to do that. Yes, those of you who are in the position to implement it now, do it. Make it a compulsion on your agenda, on your curriculum. Communication, the art of it, the need for it, the methodology of it, techniques, ways and means, right? Everything. If we don't do it, we're just wasting time. We have to be able to communicate effectively with each other, to be competitive in this new dispensation that is here right now. Now, while going around the country with a grouping of my Garifuna brothers and sisters, accompanying them, which I did every day consecutively for 12 days, right? It was very revealing, and I acted as a informant in terms of a tour guide, a guide to say where we are, what we, where it is, and so on, and help in different ways. Very, very interesting schedule I had. So the first day, which was the Monday the 9th, I think it was, yes. Some came before, which was very good. Or Monday the 10th, which they can't recall which was the thing. I think it was, yeah, the I'm wrong there, the 9th or the 10th. Anyway, the Monday, we went to Fancy. And if you know, Fancy is the most northern community by road on the eastern side, along the eastern main road of St. Vincent and the Grenadines. And I took the opportunity to, I haven't been to Fancy for some time. I took the opportunity to look carefully at the foliage, the whole livelihood going out. And something stood out real stark. And if you have a trained eye in certain areas, like I am on certain, you could actually see the poverty and where it's coming from and where it has been coming from. And there's no two ways about that. So you're not guessing again or believing, which is something I don't practice. A lot of you might say strong strain, but belief is something that they taught us. Our ancestors always knew. We didn't have to believe. We knew. Belief wasn't part of our diet. We knew the Almighty creators. We knew the truth. We knew the way. We knew the light. We knew the wrong and we knew the right. We didn't believe. Believe is when they start separating us from our rootical spirituality. And tell you to believe in this and believe in that. A whole mess up. Anyway, I know from my time, and I worked in agriculture in St. Vincent, and I worked as an extension coordinator, right? I had to coordinate the extension work almost throughout the whole country. I did different things, but I worked in that area for a long time, right? When you look and you have to reach Orangeville, okay? And you're moving from Montrose, where they were staying, to Orangeville. along the main road, and you haven't seen one live cattle, you know something wrong with this country. Something is wrong. But in every corner you turn, you see an elephant grass. Every street you're on, you see an elephant grass. The first time you could see a small gathering of goats is when you reach Georgetown stretch. You know something wrong with this country. Because what it is telling you is that our culture of grazing animals, has gone, and there are no animals to graze nearby. Any animals we have are way in the interior. You're not seeing them. So they are few and far between. Okay? Even when you leave Spring, what's this area you call it? Francis Vale, that piece of land that the late Manny Francis bought from Hadley, and you going out to go on the ridge there. There's an area on the left side where you always see 4 or 5 cattle grazing at some time. There were no cattle there. And I said, something's wrong. It means that our livestock population is at its lowest ebb. And the census data will show this. While at the same time, the largest crop in St. Vincent is elephant grass. Not planted by people because when it flowers and it seeds, flowers are wind blown, and when they drop, they will germinate most of the time. That's how it's spread, one of the ways it's spread it. And in the days when the Camden Park Experiment Station, which by chance is 100 years old in its establishment this year, what they did was that they harvested elephant grass. Like, okay, every patch of elephant grass would be harvested every 40 days. 40, never went over 42 days. So it prevented them from reaching the stage of flowering. So only those areas which were planted intentionally had elephant grass. And at that time, they also realized by the nutritional science that at that time, the grass was at the healthiest for the livestock. It wasn't too young and it wasn't too old. If it was too old, it would be too fibrous and the livestock wouldn't chew it properly. So they harvested from the same area every 40 to 42 days. And how I know that? How I knew that even before I knew it from a scientific person or thing is that my nearest neighbor, God bless his soul, Miller, was the best grass cutter they had. And right in front of our house was one of the grass fields. So when he cut this time, he would say to himself, oh, I have to cut that such and such, because he done already checking the next cycle for cutting there, and he know he has to go and cut the next time. But in this country, we have a resource that we're not even using. The same elephant grass. We're not using, we don't have any livestock of any type that we cut it and feed it to regular. Because our attention, when I say I mean at the country government, to the governance level, was not on agriculture. It was on somebody else's culture, which is tourism. The economy was, the money gain inside of the economy was taken away from the majority of the people who were actually in food and agriculture and shifted entirely in tourism, where the major shareholders, the major people who make the most money in the tourism sector are the bigger people, most of them outside of the country. So by doing that and not linking the agriculture and the tourism, you're spreading poverty in the agricultural sector. And then by spreading the false information that agriculture is a thing of the past, psychologically awaken the next generation or the now generation. No, this is not important. We don't have to do that. Aha. That is what they said. Many people believe, and that's the danger. They didn't go and check it out. They just believe and they swallow it line, hook and sinker. When you also go in that area, you see also Not just that, you see the damage that the pestilence that was deliberately spread on the crops in this country are right there. When you look at the banana and plantain species in front of you, and they don't look like banana and plantain because they don't hardly have 7 healthy leaves on them, which is not even the number required for the plant to photosynthesize properly, so you could get a good bunch. Spread by this disease, black sigatoka, which was deliberately spread in this country to cripple our agricultural sector. Yes, tell them I say so because I know what I'm saying. Okay? We know who, we know why, and of course we know when. And of course we know how. Okay? But those things have come to an end because the longest rope has an end. And the evil is done and the good is coming now to clean all these things up. Don't get too excited and rush and say this not happening yet and that not happening yet. Things are happening. Yep. Good things are happening. So when you look at these things and you say, oh, why? That is the level of our bananas there. And you know from seeing these things that the yield our farmers are getting, the marketable yield, and even at the consumer level, when the consumer buy the hand or 2 hands of bananas, and let us say each hand has 8, 9, bananas in it. When you go home, instead of getting 16 or 17 bananas to eat, you have to throw almost half of each one when they get ripe. Because they have no shelf life in them. Because the pestilence and the disease that attack them suck the life out of them. So these are some of the things that you're seeing there. And when you see, you know what we have to correct. You know the measure of the work that we have to put in to make sure that we step out of the darkness and we keep stepping into the light. Yeah, because that's where we're going. Leaving Babylon. Not complaining, we just explaining what it is, the truth. So when you know the truth and you move from there, you make less mistakes. Plan your business better. We also know that there's a lack. When I saw the things going on and speak, there's a lack of farmers and community groupings actively working in those areas. And all these things have accumulated over the past 25, 30 years that we just came out of. Yes, particularly in the last 20 years. So these are the things that we have challenging in us. But we now have the remedy, we have some of the will, and it's going to be increasing. And now the time to put these remedies into place and to get rid of that. That's where we're going with our people. So we saw all of that. Just imagine that in all that time, and I have to give you this fact, that the Garifuna people have been coming here from 2012 or 13 and groupings and so on, and meeting with our local Garifuna contingent, which has been doing all that job for the time, okay? And you have to give them some level of credit for that. They have never had the courtesy, not I saying it, I am hearing it from high up in their grouping, of meeting, of having a collective meeting of the leaders of the groupings with the Prime Minister of the country then to reason about anything going forward. The first such meeting they had is when they met with Dr. Godwin Friday, PM. The Friday, the 13th. Yes, just imagine that. Just imagine that. So, things are happening. Things are happening. When we also go around the country, like when we are up in We were up in Greg's on the 14th, and yes, big up to the people in Greg's. Never mind the limitations and constraints that you're facing right now. Big up to everybody there. Yes. Oh, first of all, I must say that in Fancy, the children who we went there to speak to at their invitation, those children at the Fancy Government School, massive, massive children. Big up to you. These were, on the whole visit we went, these were the people who spoke the Garifuna language the most fluently. People in Fancy. Children in Fancy. Yeah, young children. And when you look at the enthusiasm in their eyes when Professor Ramos and others were speaking, you could see that these are serious children. But to our surprise and pleasure, they served us with some Madongo bakes. Yeah. Haven't had it for a long, long time. Eh? And you had it at the right temperature. So that's how it is supposed to be eaten. Hot to fairly hot to get the real flavor out of them. That time they're soft and, you know, delicate and tender and so on. But what is happening now is that the material from which it is made is limited right now. We have not produced, we have not increased our, well, I shouldn't even put it that to say increase. There has been no commercial production of our root since 2013. None. So we are almost 13 and 13. 13 years now since we have not produced a commercial crop of arrowroot in this country. A crop that is indigenous to this country. You see where we are? You see where we are? I'm telling you. When we got to Greg's on the 14th, there were lots of little huts and so on where selling different types of food. Excellent idea, all along the roadside. And what I estimated by looking at all these things and buying some little things there, I couldn't get any Madongo to buy in Greg's because whatever little had sold off quickly. That only to show you the limited quantity of arrowroot that started we have in this country. A day like that should always have surplus if these things are managed properly. So it shows you the level of problems we have in this country in terms of even our indigenous foods. I enjoyed some cassava bread, as my grandparents used to say, bam bam. Yes, and I got them hot again, right? But overall, in terms of the foods, we have to set it now, especially in Garifuna areas where the food system and the food production system is geared towards, when it's coming towards March, you have a lot, the most of the food you'll be serving in that day would be locally grown food, not imported from outside. Even you want to serve barbecue chicken, you have to go them day. Stop thinking the way that you have to go and buy. No. This is the time we now have to start to produce the things we need right on the spot once we could do it. So that is where mentally our agriculture has to go. You have to get your dasheen is one of the favorite crops come out of Greg's. And dasheen, as I was doing my research, to another point I will come to in a while, very important point, to correct some very wrong information coming from a very high esteemed source in this country. Yes, it touched me, so I have to speak about it a little. Not with any resentment or anything like that, but you can't let these things slip. Can't. At least I can't let them slip. Knowing it differently. So areas like that have to produce much more food. Particularly when it comes to a month like March, where is a National Heroes Month. Let us see the national hero and heroism heroes and heroines coming out from the agricultural sector and food sector. Let us see that happening next time. That is not did happen this time, and we need to see it happening this time. Which leads into this area I'm going into. And I'm going into it because I know no one else has the gusto to go into it, even though they knew the same thing that I knew. And they saw and they recognized the fallacy in what was said as I have done it. And with all due respects to the honorable gentleman, I'm speaking about our esteemed doctor, who is one of the co-authors of the history books that was commissioned, that has now been added to our curriculum. My senior grammar school student, senior to me in class, cricket lead of the cricket team in the time, very good friend. I differ on the grounds of science and what I know, totally differ with your conclusion and your statement that there is no evidence that the people from Mali, from the expedition in 1311, landed in this country. My brother, as a trained scientist, I see that as completely wrong, completely wrong. Everything points to that fact. And if you're expecting to find any literature, or anyone expecting to find any literature written by a European stating that this thing happened, it won't happen because that is not their objective. Not their objective, it never was. To make us realize our roots and origins. But when you read in a lot of the correspondences, and you have pointed to these and other things, which they say, the French and the Spanish were in these areas a century before the British. And they reported seeing increasing numbers of black people, as they would say, who they then call black Caribs, fighting among the Kalinago, fighting with the alongside the Kalinago to keep them out. Right? But there are several cultural things there. One is that a lot of the boats that left here in those times to go up the other islands to fight with their other, alongside their other indigenous people, like they did in Dominica, to get rid of the French, to fight and to rescue enslaved people who ran away from slavery. And they would know by sending the message by drums. Those people, both of them, those from the Orinoco and Amazon basin areas, who they call the Yellow Caribs, and those from the whole area from Mali coming right down to the coast. Because the people who come here weren't just from Mali alone, they're from every country. Mali is a landlocked country in that West African area, coming right down to the coast. They are skilled boat builders. And these boats were seen here a long time. We're talking hundreds of years before this so-called shipwreck took place. So anyone who is expecting to find some documents or saying, oh, we are from Mali and we landed here in 1311, no, you won't find that. You would find a message and answer a different thing. Then I use my own science, ethnobiology, right? Attach it to the agricultural sector, ethnobotany, and the plants that were here even before the French came here. I remember I told you the French came here, history says so, and the Spanish, over 100 years before the British. The plants that were here came from two major sources, major areas of the world. That is the origin, botanical origin. The same Orinoco Basin, Amazon Basin area, and West Africa. If you have a doubt about what I'm saying, just Google and ask what crops, what food crops did the indigenous people of Yemen eat? Remember, this is Yemen, before the name was changed. And they will tell you, apart from arrowroot and cassava, the indigenous people of Yemen, the Kalinago/Garifuna people of what is now called St. Vincent and Grenadines, cultivated a diverse array of food crops as part of their sustainable, often intercrop agricultural systems. Now you hear that sentence alone tells you what took place then. Okay? They cultivated a diverse array of crops. That means from day one, we always had agricultural diversification in this country. The slave master mash it up when it comes to the money crop. Sugarcane monocrop, banana monocrop, cotton monocrop. You understand? Yes. We had a diverse agricultural system originally. Okay? And it is part of the sustainable, often intercrop agricultural sector. It had to be sustainable because it's the food that kept our ancestors strong and be able to resist these colonizers and enslavers longer than everybody else in the region. Because we had food, we didn't depend on anyone else. We had food. And an army moves on its stomach. So to say that there is no evidence, to me, it's, it's like not analyzing it any proper way at all. We expected to pick up a newspaper and read and say there's evidence. No, it won't happen that way. We have to do is to pick up the signs and the trends and the culture, because a lot of our people spoke in the culture. But here what happened now? They said key food crops cultivated in pre-colonial and early colonial Yemen included 1. Starchy roots and tubers. And here are these things: sweet potatoes, numerous varieties, yams. Okay? Now, it happens right now from, say, like winter, right up to before spring, especially at winter. And in my area is one of the areas where people just go and dig a certain kind of bush yam and just plant the head again and expect it to be bearing next year again. These are the yams, some of the yams that our African ancestors brought here. Because history has recorded that more than half the ships that Abu Bakr II came on, prepared, were provision ships with live but planting material and so on, seeds and all these things. You think they come in here as a tourist boat? No, they come in here to reside and to cultivate because they knew they would have met land. They knew. Yes. So do expect you to find some office on something with some passport and say, yeah, these people are. No. That, metaphorically speaking, we know what the passport and the immigration office are now for these people. We see their footprints and their handprints and their culture prints all over this land. So don't even think about going down that road. They say one of the crops again was maize, and corn came from the other side. Corn is one of the crops that both sides cultivated, but came from the South American area. Okay? And beans. No, we hardly plant beans in this country. Our ancestors planted beans, lots of beans. That is why when I was a young person growing up, every older farmer in the area had some kind of 6 weeks or short crop beans in his small outside kitchen or something, hung up drying to plant the next time the rain comes. Is an intercrop with his hard food, or with his corn, or with his pumpkin. That's how it went. Okay? And we also planted squash and pumpkins. And in terms of fruits, the original papa you see them here. Our people brought them here. Okay? Pineapple, guava. We think these came from? You think the slave master bring these things? The bananas we used to call muggy bananas and the original plantain. These are some of the foods that our people had here. Long time, long before any boat was even built much but to wreck itself. And again, as I said, those people who survived that shipwreck were taken care of by the same Garifuna people who have lots of people trying to deny their origin and their story. Okay? That's how it went. But the truth is the truth, and the truth is there for all to see. And no matter how you whine, you dance, or what, you cannot take away that glory from our Garifuna people. Why? Because all of us are ever blessed. Ever blessed, song number 1. Ever blessed. Yes.
Yeah, oh, oh. Must I guide the way? So here you know, nothing never easy about this. And dark days are gonna make you doubt it. Yeah, yeah. That's when your light shine the brightest. So here you know, even though the journey rough, we never worry. In the tough times when most of them are scurry, we feel like stand up when heap of them are gang up. If you know you're blessed, me need see every hand up. Cause every test that me passing through, prepare me for the next phase me walking through. I know that if we believe it, yeah we can achieve, just as long as we walk with you. And when me trotting on this long road, must I have carried my load. When I come far from my home, was I still in a control? Everything, ever blessed, know everything, ever blessed. Love protect. Guidance and protection from every direction. Shuffle up the order when you know it need correction. Never leave me side, stand by me like me bright and brighten up the nights and can't give up the fight, man. Cause when the things get heavy, that's when the most I make me beat them steady. Keep me focused when me feel me never ready. Thankful we never yet see the cemetery. Cause when me trotting on this long road, must I have carried my load. When I come far from my home, was I still in a control? Everything, ever blessed, no everything, ever blessed. Love protect. Restore your meds, love life from telly. Positive action, them bad vibes to bury. Lead a good life, make a good child. Though you never starve, no food to fill your belly. And one fill the basket. Never make nobody tell you that you can't get. And even when life make you change your plans, never stress I want to kill you, go and make you strong. And when me trotting on this long road, must I have carried my load. When I come far from my home, Was I still in a control? Everything ever bless, so everything ever bless. Love protect. Even though the journey rough, we never worry. In the tough times when most of them are sorry, we still a stand up when heap of them a gang up. If you know you're blessed, we need see every hand up. Cause every test that we passing through, prepare we for the next phase we walk into. And for that if we believe it, yeah we can achieve. Just as long as we walk with you. Cause when we trotting on this long road, most I up carry my load. When I come far from my home, was I still in a control? Everything ever blessed, you know, everything ever blessed. Love protect.
Yes, ever blessed. So right now we will take a break. Must get some more from our station ID and our sponsors, and then we come forward with our biodynamic gardening planting by the moon phase guide.
You can make your donation to Bayhill News Network care of Montgomery Cubit Bayhill Cane Garden Republic Bank account 200-00011-6899 PayPal https://paypal.me/BayhillNewsNet or Western Union /MoneyGram Montgomery Cubit Bayhill Cane Garden telephone 1784-529-8340. Thank you.
Hey friends, are you curious about the causes of human diseases and conditions, and not merely their signs and symptoms? How about a natural medicine prevention approach to health and wellness? Well, if you're curious, here's inviting you and your family to join us on the Vinabit Show on CANCARDIRADIO on Saturday evenings with Stan Horn, Doctor of Natural Medicine. There will be repeat broadcasts throughout the week. Thanks for sharing and linking us. CANCARDIRADIO.INFO and BayhillNews.net. It's the Vin Abbott Show with news, views, and interviews. The music in the mix on Saturdays, 4 p.m. Cancari Radio.
Join your host, Ross Bishai, for Stepping into the Light at Bayhill Online Radio and Cancari Radio. Ross Bishai steps into the light of food and agriculture, culture, and liberty. Stepping into the light lifts the level of your self-consciousness, activates your collective security genetic code, raises your earthly vibration. To win in this Armageddon, you must listen to Stepping into the Light with host Ross Bishai. Yes, and here we go into our biodynamic gardening, planting by the moon phase guide for the period Wednesday, 25th March, that's tomorrow, to Tuesday, 31st March, next Tuesday, and the month as people say, 2026. Now, where are we? Today is the 24th of March. Okay? Tomorrow is the 25th. Well, I've already given you the 24th report and the last report. So for tomorrow, where are we? What is the moon phase? We are into the first quarter. Yes, that is normally last day. That signals the end of the waxing crescent phase. The moon moved from crescent to quarter moon. So the first quarter is what you're seeing tomorrow. Now you say tomorrow first quarter? Yeah, that's what it means. So it's the last day in which These above ground crops, mainly leaf crops, are best suited to be planted. Not the only crops, but the best suited ones. Above ground crops. Above ground crops are always planted in the coming up moons. This phase and in the next phase. The two waxing phases, waxing crescent and waxing gibbous. But the waxing crescent phase, which ends tomorrow, favors the leafy crops much better, and the waxing gibbous, which starts on Thursday, favors those which have fruit. So tomorrow still you can set seeds, in particular, of your leafy plants. Your lettuce, you still have to plant lettuce, set some. Celery, set some, although it's better to plant celery earlier in this phase, because celery takes a good time to burst. And in most cases, you should be soaking your seeds for a certain time before you plant. We're also going to plant corn, all kind of herbs, and cucumbers. So you didn't plant your cucumbers yet for this phase? Plant some tomorrow for good cucumbers. Okay? And it's always a good time to mow lawns and to graft and to prune. And from Thursday now, the quarter moves into a gibbous form. So it's a waxing gibbous because the moon's still getting bigger. But now it's getting gibbous, getting rounder. Okay? And this is the phase, the beginning of the phase in which you plant. You set your seeds like your sweet pepper seeds, your pumpkin seeds, your squash seeds, your tomato seeds, your flavor pepper seeds. Okay? These things, the eggplant seeds and so on. These plants that bear fruit. And of course, you could also plant corn. Corn will go well in this phase. And flowers. Anything that bear flowers, where the flowers is the male part of the plant that you harvest, excellent time. Excellent phase to plant them. Okay? So my brothers and sisters who are asking questions, you have your cannabis seeds to set up, anything from Thursday. For the better yield, the better flavor, the better growth, everything. Never mind the brand of the seed. You set them in this phase, and you get the better flowers. You get more flowers, more compact flowers, more smelly flowers, more medicinal flowers, more everything. This is the season. Same thing holds for Friday, the 27th, Saturday, the 28th, Sunday, the 29th, Monday, the 30th, and Tuesday, the 31st, which is an optimum planting day because of the alignment of the heavenly bodies. Optimum planting day is Tuesday, the last day of this month. Next week, Tuesday, March the 31st. Okay? Now use these times to put something in the earth because food right now, internationally, is the most important thing. It's a crisis all over the earth because of what is happening. And we're getting into that later. After this song, we're getting into that to tell you why food is an imperative right now, internationally. So follow the advice you're going to hear in this song. Plant it up. Follow the advice. Do something, please. And the weather is very encouraging right now.
The race they got us if it is for those who will enjoy till the end, till the end. Some try leading one straight, seek wisdom from today, my friend. My friend, they crying food shortage and things are getting dread in the rain. Yeah, don't let it get in your head, man. Don't only live by bread but by the word. That's what he said. Put on your armor, trot on, trot along. Become a farmer, plant for the land. Don't let time go to waste. Every day make a way. Grow food and garden. Plant cassava, green banana, mango, pawpaw, and sweet potato. Sour, turmeric, herb, ginger, moringa. Corn and breadfruit, shadow, baby, arrow. Veggie provisions and all kind of fruit. May the work of your hands flourish and go far. May the work of your hands be blessed and prosper. And as the plants they grow, we grow in same way. New mercy, fresh every day, with time, sun, and rain, and energy. The plants they will thrive, and we shall reap the bounty. Don't be a slave to the system. Renew your mind daily. Plant cassava, green banana, mango, pawpaw, and sweet potato, sour, turmeric, herb, ginger, moringa, corn and breadfruit, shadow, baby, arrowroot, veggie provisions and all kind of fruit. May the work of your hands flourish and go far. May the work of your hands be blessed and prosper. We want coconut water, beautiful sunflower, hibiscus tea and some seriously. Planted tomato, berries many colors, watermelon, sweet pepper, cherry and guava. The guava, the guava. Plant cassava, green banana, mango, pawpaw, and sweet potato, sour, turmeric, herb, ginger, moringa, corn and breadfruit, shadow, baby, arrowroot, veggie provisions and all kind of fruit. May the work of your hands flourish and go far. May the work of your hands be blessed and prosper. May the work of your hands be blessed and prosper.
Yes, when you walk up your hand will be blessed and prosper. Speaking about planting food, one of the things I should tell you also is that the sad state of our coconuts, you see them when you go into the country. You see the number of yellow leaves on each coconut tree. And it doesn't happen by chance. You know? Yes, our coconut production in this country is seriously negatively impacted by the coconut mite, which causes the yellowing disease you're seeing in the leaves there, and keep helping them to unproduce, not producing, not even in some cases half of their potential, their genetic potential. So these are some of the things again that we must correct going forward. And we already have solutions for these things. It's just a matter of time and getting them together, getting the implementation of it together. Of course, I should also tell you that on that same day, the same days I went to the country because we went to Fancy once, we went to Sandy Bay, we went to Georgetown, we went to Greg's. And I did not see anyone selling any citrus of any sort. That just gives you a clue. Well, looking through town is a waste of time because most of the food that comes to town comes from the outer areas, which we call Windward and Leeward. Okay? And look where we get to. Look where we are now with citrus. We used to use most of this young citrus nowadays to play cricket, bat and ball in the yard, somewhere in somebody's yard. Whether it's lemon or lime or young orange tea somewhere from somebody's tree. These are the favorite ones. Tangerine didn't have the shape, so you didn't use that. And you hardly use grapefruit. But those others, we use them. Now you can't even find one to squeeze to make a lime squash. That's where we are. So we have to rebuild. We have to rebuild. And rebuild we shall. Okay? Now I want to speak about the imperative of food. Given the changes that are taking place in the world today, right? Which sounds like wars and rumors of wars, but they had to occur. So don't put your energy into this president do that and no. This is prophecy fulfilling, my people. Don't get into them. It's only people who don't know that get into useless arguments and so on. The fact of the matter is that Babylon, which is the system, must fall, and it's falling. Okay? Neither you nor I have designed the fall. We are just observers. So don't waste your energy saying that this man is a that and that man is a that. No. Just look at where they are and make sure that you are not in the darkness and stepping out of Babylon and stepping into the light. That's the important thing. Don't hold on to the old system. And most of it is mental and most of it is spiritual. Keep out of them thing, this sister and brethren. Keep out. If you keep out, you'll be safe. So everybody know the things that are happening in embargo here and this fire and that fire and that. The foods that we have been dependent on for the last 40, 50 years will become more expensive and more scarce. Who have the little will hold on to it. Some people who produce the chemical fertilizers wouldn't get fertilizers to produce the food, so the production level would go down. Right? Those who could get it through the freight because of the insurance now and the vessels and the different things, the cost would be much higher. Much, much higher. And when you add all these things to the synthetic level of foods that we import here for people, right? And the genetically modified foods we import for our people, you will see that the real benefit of this whole thing is positive because we should stop bringing these foods in. Now we have a crisis. And in this country, these countries, one of the major problems with the crisis is the mentality of our people, which has changed over the last 20, 25, 30 years. Some people born into the narrative that agriculture is a thing of the past. So they wouldn't have any recollection of what happened before. And they would accept that as they say gospel. And those who even were born before and are leading towards that way, we have a problem. Our biggest challenge right now is building up that mentality, breaking down that thought, that belief system, and building up the confidence in our people that food production is the first production we have to do. You could have all the weapons in the world and all the money in the world. You have no food, you ain't going anywhere. History shows that the Soviet Union paid the price for that in the 80s. They were very strong weapons and so on. What happened? They didn't have the food to sustain a long-term war and they couldn't make it. Army moving his stomach. Right? And right now, the foods we eat in have caused our people to grow into a different species of human. Yes, genetically modified people we have. People who don't really have a natural shape. The shape is all over the place. And generally the health is all over the place too. So these are some of the things that we're correcting when we correct the food system and start planting properly. The countries who, by choice of that policy, and who do not have the same resources or even have the resources that we have here, which we are wasting, we have been wasting, they have become major importers of food. And they're crying now because countries in the OECS like we are, and near to us, have seen that the money they make from tourism, and some of them have some fairly well organized tourism sectors, the money they made locally doesn't last any time because they have to use it now to import food to feed their people and to feed the same tourists too. Okay? So the dollar goes right back out. It just comes in and makes a song whoosh and it's gone. So the countries are not moving forward socially and economically, people collectively. And they're exposed to the same problem like us from consuming these foods. Same non-communicable disease things, especially obesity and high blood pressure and so on. Okay? And heart failures, heart diseases. So the races are now to produce food because this thing is heating up and there could be shortages of certain commodities. And in my humble speaking, that would not be a bad thing because necessity is the mother of invention, and some people only move when they back up against the wall. Okay? And that may be the click or the signal to get some people to move in the right direction. We have to grow more food here. Our brother Ernest to cook on his last program a couple days ago, he was 2 days consecutive been lamenting that fact, the urgency, and want to know that if we in the region here have missed the boat. We, our so-called governments, and carry come, if it did come at all, since 2019, they had asked for a study before from our regional experts in terms of food, people produce statistics, right? Nutrition and so on, effects, to produce a report on our food importation status. And the people produced the report in time and handed it, and they never acted on it for over 2 years. And when they did act on it, they decided that based on the severity of the situation, they would have to cut the regional food import bill by 25% by 2025. That is what they decided in 2019. You know. It took absolutely no action much, just talk, except for Guyana. Just talk. They talk the talk, and they talk the talk, and they talk the talk, but they never walk the talk. Much more to walk the walk. But things get worse. Things got worse, and look where we are now. 2025, nothing done in this country. This equator right here, okay? So they expand it now to 2030. And we here also have a program, signatories and originators of a program called, with the acronym FAST, FAST, Food and Agriculture Systems Transformation. We can transform nothing. I have to plug this one here because I just heard it today. And when these things are being whispered, they have some action of truth in it. So I'm alerting the public to it, and I'm alerting the government that we ain't making this thing happen again. No way. Word has reached I man, right? That the owners and operators of the quarry of Richmond are trying to take over another area, another agricultural area in that area to do quarrying. None of that going on, my brethren. Could tell you straight up right now, government or no government, none of that will ever take place again. Not in this land. Not in this land. That is not a threat. That's a fact. We're not going down that road. And for a man to be so bold faced as to be thinking that way that he could come here and use up our agricultural lands to the quarry. When those few of us who knew said publicly that he would not find a quarter of the amount of stones he needed in that area to build a quarry, they didn't worry us. But we knew more than what they think we know. And what we know, we still ain't even showing them what we know. Yeah. But we know that ain't happening again. No way, sir. No way. Anyway, let us continue with what we have to do because we have work to do. Our food production has to be rooted right now on two factors. And all of them are very important for us. If we as a people collectively are going to ensure that we fashion our economy to benefit the majority of our people. I'm going to repeat that. We fashion our economy. Not anybody fashion our economy for us because we will always be stragglers if we do that. Like what happened not too long ago. We were just scrambling for pieces. We have to fashion our economy so that the majority of us, of our people, get a bite out of it when they come. Okay? Yes, that's how it has to be. Can't be any other way. Balance is the third law of our ancestors. Truth, order, and balance. So we know the truth, we put any order in place to get that balance happen, Jared. Yes, I must do that. We're not stupid. It's not the time when people could fool you again. Never mind how much AI they use and all these things. Okay? So here we are having to reduce our food import bill. And it just doesn't mean stop bringing in these things. It means apart from that, producing them here because we already consuming them. So make the production here right where we consuming them. So we buying them from ourselves, not from anyone else. And yes, we can do that. And we can do it well. But it requires order and knowledge of certain things, how to proceed. Okay? And of course, other inputs. Well, all that is how to proceed. How to proceed to reveal these things. Can't say everything on the program, but you say enough for you to overstand and understand where I'm coming from. Then we got to increase at the same time the production of food. So that one is for the local market in particular. We also have to increase the production of some foods for the local market, which were export crops. We have to increase our production of export crops in order to gain money. Because that is how we trade. We have to have something to trade. And our trade has fallen off significantly, particularly in the last 15 years. Our agricultural trade, we ain't bringing in nothing now. Yeah, we ain't bringing any money when the time come, when they come. Yes, that is where we have to go. We now have to move from importing close to $6 million worth of food a week. That is what we imported up to the end of 2025. Right? $307+ million. You divide that by 52 and you see what you get. Okay? To be able to export between $8 and $10 million worth of food a week. Yes, that's how we have to do. So in the end, we end up with a big net gain. And then we use that money to expand our economic base as a people. Those things require different things. They require a different curriculum in the schools also, different types of teaching. In the schools and in the other hallways, a different type of teaching is required. So here we are, looking to produce food. At least we have had some encouraging signs and statements from the new administration, the new government. So we're going to be starting the whole system of seeing what we have to do and then looking. So when we know what we have to do now, then planning how we are going to do what we have to do and who is going to do what is required to do. Right? These are things we have to look at in detail. We look at what exists. We're going to do what we do the first thing we do. And in this case, we don't have to do it much because it's the marketing in the production planning stage, the marketing data. How much of what we are bringing in? You go to the town on any given Monday morning or Friday in particular, those 2 days. And as early as you reach any town, you see vendors have their stuff on the sidewalk. When you look at the content of the stuffs and you walk up the road, you see almost 50% of them, in some cases more, are imported foods. Yes, onion, garlic, Irish potato, cooking oil, just to name a few. Carrots. You see them all the time. Yes. Excuse. Yes. And all of those commodities can be produced here commercially and competitively and have been done at least at the experimental level. All of them have been done at the commercial level. So why have they not been expanded on? Why are we not producing our own? We like Irish potato. It looks so because a lot coming in and they keep coming. So why are we not growing our own Irish potato for those who love Irish potato? Onion and garlic are two staples. Why are we not producing onion and garlic right here when we have the capacity so to do? Why are we allowing elephant grass and other things to take over the land? Carrots, we exported carrots once. Now we imported carrots. And then nowhere near as tasty as the carrots we grow there. You go to the supermarkets and you see other things which we import. Yes, certain type of lettuce. We imported cabbages. Just imagine these things we imported. Well, all the other cool season vegetables like cauliflower, broccoli. We import those things. We even import celery in some cases. Sweet peppers. So these are already things. What I'm trying to show you is that, well, don't talk about poultry meat, is that we know the commodities we import. We have to look at where we import them from and what is the cost and what are the quantities we import and the frequency that we look at. Okay? Because what we have to do now is develop a supply system which images that. We have to supply the quantity, the frequency, and at a competitive cost. Okay? To make it sensible. We're replacing that importation with a local production. And we have to make it sustainable, meaning to say that we have to have control of the production materials, the planting, what we need to do these things. That is where we have to go. You have to bend your back because it's not going to be easy, but it's not impossible. Then we have to look at who producing them and how they're produced. Because this is not a one hand could clap thing. No. What level of organization these people have at the farm level, at the community level. Our people have very little agribusiness skills. Very little. Our people right now have lost the culture of working together, of investing together. We have serious challenges like a lack of labor, of workers at the farm level. How do we address these things? These are things that we have to face. So when you move from there now, you get into all that is part of the production planning. Okay? And then you plan your production, you get into pre-production now. That is when you're going to line up and see where you're getting the inputs from, what inputs, where you're getting the credit from, facilities, the people who giving credit know these things, they know that there's a market, so they have no problem, realizing that the money is right here available and so on. And who's going to do what, when, how, where. Then you get into the actual production. Okay? From the production and the care, you get into the harvest. The harvest includes several things: storage, package, cleaning, everything, grading, everything. Then you get into the value-added sector of it. Transport, assemble, sort, package, all these things. And then you get into the storage, the processing, if there's any processing, and then the sale, the distribution. These are the things that we have to do. But we have to do them in a way that our people, it comes second nature after a while, and we learn to work collectively. Okay? But we could make it happen. And we have to work. So to encourage each one to work, we would listen to the advice of the singer of this tune, Work, Bob Marley. Work, song number 3.
We are people that make it work.
Come together
And make it work.
yeah.
Five days before,
Working for the next day.
4 days before,
Working for the next day.
3 days before,
Working for the next day.
2 days before,
Working for the next day.
1 day to go.
Working for the every day is We got looking for the next day. 4 days to go. Working for the 3 days to go. Working for the next day. Yes. 2 days to go. Working for the day. Yes. Every day. Work in the midday sun. Work in the evening comes. Work if you ain't got nothing to do.
Yes, work, work. We got to make it work. We got to make it work big time. Now, there are lots of there's people out there, our own people, who since the spectacular political change in the scenario here, which is a fact, whether you like it or not, it's a fact, it's there, you have to deal with it. People's choice must be respected. Looking now to invest in St. Vincent again, their homeland. Whether in coming home to do so or in sending resources home to do so. And a lot of them have been calling in, specifically with specific reference to lands they have idle, lying idle, which they want to turn into some level of agricultural production. That's is very good news. Okay. One interesting person called me today. Yesterday it was, yes, and explained where his land was and so on. And when I say give me a number of someone who knows and I'll go and visit it, he says you can't go in that land right now because the entrance is covered with bushes and so on. Now that is not a one-off. So I'm saying that to say, to alert the government people in particular that their monies have to be found to be invested in every sector of the agriculture, including the clearing of lands, because people don't have the money now, but they have the need and the will to clear the land. So whatever development financing is needed has to be put in place ASAP. And development financing is needed for every sector of the agriculture right now. Okay? Development financing is needed. It's an investment, not a grant or anything like that. Don't look at it as an burden. It is an investment into the resources of this country, including our human resources, and getting us out of the Babylon easily, quickly, doing things that we were supposed to do over 3 decades ago. In that investment also, development financing must be areas for people who do value added, especially from agricultural produce, right? Whether it is food or medicine or the materials, art materials or whatever, these people have to be accommodated in the funding of the expansion of their businesses, must be. Even if it's arts and craft or whatever. So the function and the work of Invest SVG now has to broaden and include all these areas and be linked with the development funding of people in that area. And we got to move fast and we got to move big. This is no time for small nibblings and so on. It ain't gonna work. This is the time to move fast, move sure, move transparent, move organized, and move big. That's how we have to do it. Okay? There are also lots of vital infrastructure that have been deliberately neglected over the times that have to be put in place. Yes, the fixing of certain bypass roads and highways are good. Welcome them. They take their place on a social level and so on, and fixing certain traffic congestion. So yes. However, on the analysis I look at the most productive roads we could have right now are farm roads, farm feeder roads. Feeder roads into the agricultural sector, the areas where our original people own lands, 2 acre lots and 1 acre lots and 3 acre lots and the what you used to call mountain land and these kind of things. Right? Because these are the people who have now to become the real players, some of the real players in the economy, the new economy which we are fashioning and building, which must include our people. On this note, I have to big up the speed of the work, the road work being done in Copeland, North Leeward. People are in touch with I and they tell I that and they say things that haven't happened for years in getting from home to Copeland, they have been able to do right now. Because of the speed, the recent speed now of the work. Right? And it seems that the contractors are doing a good job. Keep it up and we have to move forward fast. So these are things, some of the things. One of the other outstanding pieces of, well, there are several, but one of them which has only been spoken about on this program. That is why you have to listen to Bayhill and CANCARDIRADIO. Nobody else speaks about it. The only other person would dare to mention these things would be Hugh Stewart in his writing column. Yes. Right? A building has been started now over 15 years. Over 15 years there's at Camden Park. You could come down there tomorrow and see it. And funds, monies have been allocated to it several times and not happened much. It's still not operational. It's our soil analytical lab. And I confirmed yesterday at the highest level that if we want a sample, one soil sample to be analyzed, we still have to send it overseas. Just imagine that in this day and age. Not even a soil sample could be analyzed in this country here. A country where if you plant a stone tonight, tomorrow when you come, it spring up and in a bigger stone. That's only to show the neglect of the sector and the neglect of all the people involved in the sector, including people like I. And for so long. And some people trying to praise that era. Watch a bunch of suck stones. Anyway, we're using our energy to go forward positively. So we got work to do. And among the work to do is I have been notified and informed by my fellow organization, CATA, Caribbean Agri-Traders Association, that they have linked with the Ministry of Agriculture, the education sector of the Ministry of Education, and that I will be doing some training of some agricultural students starting very soon in this country for a 3-month period. And I'm very excited about that. Very, very excited. Very, very, very excited. I see that at the start of developing a new army of people, agribusiness people. Right? And they will be exposed to a training curriculum like they have never seen. A lot of the work will be practical, but a lot of the work will also be informational theory. Right? And a lot of what you're going to hear you won't find it in any published book as yet, because these books are to come, these articles are to come, and you will be the first recipients of them. Because the way how they wanted to redirect what information they had to different sources, so people will never be aware of certain things and never have an insight and an interest in certain things. But we have flipped the switch and we're doing things differently now. As I said, looking forward to doing that course. Yes, with great joy. And I know the students are looking forward to do it too. And one of my brethren graciously informed I that in addition to that, the new curriculum which must come in our schools for at least the next school year, by the latest, must come. Don't worry with this foolish talk here about we had about education revolution. We know that. But the people who been talking it don't know that. They don't know anything. I'm gonna keep the music to a certain chord, eh? But if I go ahead and play now in them different chords, somebody gonna say something wrong. Okay? So those people who don't know anything at all about revolution, nothing. I could tell them that to the face. All they know is about argument, foolish argument and rhetoric and ism and schism. But revolution is a different thing, man. Revolution come from the spirit and them ain't got device for that. Straight up. It's from the clean spirit too. Yes, we now have to train our people in financial literacy. That is not a part of any school curriculum in this country. It's never been a part. Financial literacy, collective security, working together, joint investment. We got to train our people in these areas. So apart from knowing the agricultural development methods, which you're going to know, okay, which I outlined earlier, from production planning right down to distribution, and knowing the why we have to do them, you're going to be learning things like financial management and what it takes, and group management, group organization and management. These things must be taught. Must be taught. Because the only principle you're going forward right now is the principle of collective security. Any other principle is not working. No one hand clap. One hand could slap, but one hand can't clap. You get where I'm coming from? Right. So we got to make these things happen, and we got to make them sure that they happen in a positive way, where our people will benefit in the short, medium, and long term. We're not doing anything as a flash in the pan. We're doing things on long-term, sustainable level. Because you heard what I said about what the writing says about our Garipuna people. They had sustainable, diverse agricultural systems. And the only way the British could have mashed them up is to physically take the people out and exile them in another area. And then forbid the speaking of the language and the practice of the culture by those who remain here. Forbid it, and if they found you doing it, they would punish you to the worst. So after a generation or two, it was lost. And now you have everybody, most people button up their head. Yes. So we're not worrying about that. We're going forward, and we are going forward clearly and strongly and together. You know why? Because we have dreams of brighter days. Yeah, there we are, dreams of brighter days.
Last year, mercy, moments. These are the things I see. Depends on me. I give thanks a life. As the days go by, yeah.
Out comes the sun, shining on my face again. Ah, great, get me high, high so I can meditate. Oh, oh, dreams of brighter days. Highest grades we blaze. Dreams of brighter days. Giving thanks, giving thanks, giving thanks.
Giving thanks
As the
alive.
days goes by, giving thanks and praise.
As I open my window and glance through my window, I realize there's no turning back. Oh, got to complete life journey, though things get contrary. Oh, got to make it to the top. See, I'm searching for a way to survive. Working so hard, I know job will provide. Oh, see, oh, I'm keeping my head high. Mama tell me the limit is the
Dreams of brighter days. It's great to blaze. Dreams of brighter days. Giving thanks, giving thanks, giving thanks.
Giving thanks
As the days
alive.
goes by, giving thanks and praise. Burden heavy, but still a tread on. Weary, but no one's the school face where we have on. We soldiers keep standing. Never give up the fight.
The sun will shine tomorrow. We shall see the rainbow, and I will never let go. No.
Dreams of brighter days. Highest grades we blaze. Dreams of brighter days. Giving thanks, giving thanks, giving thanks. As the days goes by, giving thanks and praise. Out comes the sun, shining on my face again. Ah.
Yes, out comes the sun, shining on our face again. How many of you saw the sunset today? What a glorious sunset. From looking at it from Camden Park, Camden. There's only nature could paint these kind of pictures, eh? I got a couple photos of them, although it was a little late. What a beautiful sight. So we know that good things happening. Never mind what negative rantlings you hear about the place. Keep your mind in a positive way. Sending a message to our financial ministry, Ministry of Finance, and your Honorable Minister of Finance. Rastafari, looking to have an audience with you soon. We'll make it official. Send an official thing. Because things not going right now. How they supposed to go for the traditional medicinal cannabis farmer. Things not going well. Particularly when it comes to the banking sector. We got to get them things clear. This is not no talky time. This is time for action, real action. So look out soon for an approach of that. Okay? To everybody else, have a pleasant week. Plant something, even though it's in a pot in your yard. Keep it clean enough from chemicals. Okay? We're going to be teaching those methods very soon, but we're going to, of course, teach it to the students because nobody else teach it to them yet. How to produce food that is medicine. So when you eat 2 head of lettuce, 3 leaf of celery, a sweet potato, couple of crow, some peas or whatever, some locally produced chicken or whatever, when you eat them, it's medicine you're eating, food. You're not contaminated, nothing. Right? We're also going to teach our people how to take that money make from farming and invest it into other areas, non-agricultural areas, so that we too become sustainable in the economic system. Yes, so that by 2025, we not just increase the production of food and the consumption of food, but collectively we have some share, some bigger share in the tourism market. And with that, I'm on gone for this week. Is Exodus. The word of I man mouth and the meditation for heart be
Join
humbly
your
accepted
host,
in His sight.
Rastafari,
Rastafari.
for stepping into the light at Bayhill Online Radio and Concardi Radio. Rastafari steps into the light of food and agriculture, culture and liberty. Stepping into the light lifts the level of your self-consciousness, activates your collective security genetic code, raises your earthly vibration. To win in this Armageddon, you must listen to Stepping into the Light with host Rastafari.
It's the Vin Abbott Show with news, views, and interviews. The music in the mix on Saturdays, 4 p.m. Cancari Radio.
Hey friends, are you curious about the causes of human diseases and conditions and not merely their signs and symptoms? How about a natural